Good afternoon. The time is 4 p.m. The date is July 15th, 2024. I'd like to call to order the July meeting of the Norwalk Traffic Authority. We have a quorum with Commissioner Frank Collier Clemens, Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Sumter, Commissioner Palladino, and me, Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the meeting of June 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, Mayor, we have public comment first.
Oh, I didn't see. You're right. Is there anybody that wishes to comment?
If anybody has an item on the agenda, you can wait for your item to be read. If not, raise your hand electronically and I will unmute you. We do not, Mayor. Okay,
thank you. Now we will take a motion to approve approve the minutes of the meeting of June 17th. So I have a motion.
I move approval of minutes.
Commissioner Collier Clemens approves moves the minutes. Do we have any corrections, deletions, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion of the approval of the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstained.
Commissioner Sumter abstains. Okay, next item on the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is approve the road race for the Don Carmilo's Margarita Road Race. Do I have a motion to move that forward?
I move that forward, Mayor.
I move item 2 for discussion and
Commissioner Palladino moved. Any discussion? Do we have any discussion, or do we have anybody here that wants to speak on it?
Jason Tweed is in the public participants. He is the event organizer. Mayor, we also are going to be changing the date on that now. There needed to be a change of date, which he can talk about in more detail. So we'll just need to amend the date on that.
He is unmuted.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so you're on.
Hi, Mayor Rilling. How are you? We just need to go ahead and amend the date for that meeting. I mean, for the event. It was scheduled for this week. We don't have enough lead up time into it, and so we need to go ahead and move it to August 15th if that would be approved.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to make an amended motion. Commissioner Palladino, do you want to amend your motion?
I will amend my motion, yes.
Okay, so we need a vote to amend the motion to August. What is the date? I'm sorry.
15th.
To August 15th. All in favor of amending the motion to change the date to August 15th?
Who's putting forth the motion, Mayor?
I'm sorry?
Who is putting forth the
Commissioner
motion?
Palladino.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Palladino put the motion forward to amend the agenda to show that the date of the Don Carmilo's Margarita 5K will be August 15th instead of July 25th. Any further discussion on that motion?
Do we have anything else on the 15th that I might not be immediately aware of? That could affect that? Any other activity, any other event?
Not that I know of, and I don't know if the traffic authority, I'm sorry, if the TMP has anything on that.
Mr. Mayor, I talked with Anna Barolt, the special events coordinator. She had said that she had specifically chosen that date as there was no other events happening during that time.
Okay. So having said that, any further questions or discussion?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none, Mayor.
So all in favor of changing the date to August 15th, 2024?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Now we'll vote on the item itself. Commissioner Palladino moved that forward. Mr. Jason, you have any discussion on this? Jason Twed?
Not unless anyone has any concerns regarding, I'm happy to answer them.
And you have the route in your package, commissioners?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Benjamin, you want to just quickly go over the route?
Yeah, give me one second, Mr. Mayor. just to share the screen, or Jason, do you want to go over that? I'm sorry.
Sure, if you want to pull it up for them to see that.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Could you make that larger, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and you're going to make a turn starting at the green right there, right off of where I guess I forget what the name of that's called. I'm making sorry, I can't speak. I'm not sure what that building is called in front there. I have contacted that apartment building to let them know that we'd like to use that road where the park is, that the 3rd taxing district has as our starting point, and they have said okay to it. They had no concerns regarding that. We're going to go out of there and make a quick left out of the park and head up and make a right onto Marvin Street. And then we're going to go ahead and make another right onto Old Saugatuck and a left on right here, if you guys can see. Yeah, thanks for doing that. A left over there on the top on Pine Hill. I will go ahead and loop all the way down around the dog park, following Shorehaven Golf Course, down towards Calf Pasture. And at that point, we're going to maintain on the right there. I've spoken to the police about this. We're not going to lane off. We're going to use the sidewalk, hopefully, and go right all the way back up until we hit Canfield again, make a right, a left on Pine Hill, and then a return back to the start. It's a fairly simple course, kind of an out and back.
Any discussion from the commissioners?
And how many people are we expecting to participate in this?
Well, it's year one, and that was one of the reasons that we delayed going ahead and starting or doing it this week. We need some ramp up time. My guess for a race of this size for them would probably be about 200 to 250 participants.
And they're going to be on the sidewalk?
Currently, that's what we're okay doing because it'll spread out with a 5K. You won't have people side by side. It's not like a marathon or the Sono half where it takes up an entire roadway. But of course, I'll default to the police and see what they suggest. If there needs to be half of that lane coned off, I'll work with them however is necessary. But the runners are all following the same rules on the road, running against traffic. We have volunteers. I also have a crew that comes in that works with the police directly to control intersections.
Okay, is there, are you planning to cap it off at a certain number of people, participants?
I don't have a cap because I don't expect it getting over 250 for a first year.
Okay.
Any further comments or discussion?
Seeing that it's going to be at least the objective is going to be on the sidewalk, and I'll direct this to the chief and his staff. I don't anticipate there being an issue with traffic, correct?
No, there shouldn't be. The only concern that I have and that I will raise with them as we get closer to the date is coming up Calf Pasture, because most of the runners, that's the only place they should be on the sidewalk there if they're okay with that. If they want to put them in the street and give us a lane, that's fine too. But otherwise, they're just running against traffic. There shouldn't be much traffic flow at that time of day.
So are there going to be prompters along that way so that they will know that they're to stay on the sidewalk?
Well, the course is very clearly marked, ma'am, and we'll have cones along with signage on the cones. We also put signage on the ground.
Okay.
Any further discussion or comment?
In addition, I just wondered, in addition to the signage, are there instructions given to the runners prior to the start?
Yeah, of course. And once the website for the race sign up is actually started, there'll be a kind of a racer guide there, an athlete guide that they can access. And before we do the race, we go ahead and give them instruction on what to follow. And of course, look, we're always at the police discretion. So if they decide to change routes or they instruct us on what to do, we'll follow what they say.
I was really more concerned about just running on the sidewalk at the beginning of the race, because even with 250 people, that appears to be a lot on the sidewalk, but I'm not certain if is it a staggered race or everyone starts at the same time?
Yeah, Mr. Summer, let me clarify that for you. What I was speaking
Okay.
directly to is coming back up Calf Pasture.
Uh-huh,
Otherwise, the roads, it will be against traffic.
okay.
And if you look at the course, we're very shortly on some of those roads where
Uh-huh.
it shouldn't impede traffic. And at that
Okay.
time of day, I provided a timeline. I mean, the top runners are done in 15 minutes.
Uh-huh,
The people who are kind of out there for fun, even in a worst case scenario, are done in 48 minutes.
okay. Okay,
Any further comment or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
aye. Aye,
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 2, have someone move item 2 for discussion?
Item 3, you mean?
I'm sorry, item 3.
I move item 3, approval of full closure for the annual Sono Arts Festival.
I see we have Sue Brown Gordon here, the executive director, who's run this event for quite some time. Is there any change to the pattern that we've approved in the past?
No, Mayor, we're very excited to be doing this again with a lot of support from the local merchants, which is really nice. And I think everything has been working very well so far. So unless you have suggestions, I'd like to do what we have been doing. And the map you see provided is pretty clear. The only thing that's different on that map, I realize, is that we will not be having a bar in the intersection, which doesn't affect traffic.
Okay. All right, this has been something that's been done for many years now. All the permits and everything are in place and insurance and
sir.
everything?
Yes, sir. We're currently working on everything, both with Parks and Rec, but everything is proceeding according to plan. My COI my insurance renews right like a day or two before the event, but it's all in place, and we'll make sure everything is done that is needed.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners? Any concerns from the police department?
No, sir.
And I just wanted to mention one thing. Because we want to let the police leave Sunday evening, we'll be encouraging the exhibitors to start a little bit earlier in breakdown, and also to be moving their items to the side so that the officers aren't waiting for the last stragglers to leave.
Thank you.
Any comment or discussion from the commissioners? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have item 4, which is another item that we have approved for many, many years now. I think somewhere in the area of 40 years? But we have Mr. Eddie, who's going to move that item for discussion?
I'll move that item.
Okay,
Who is that? I'm sorry.
I'll move item 4 to approve the full closure for the
Okay.
annual Oyster Festival.
Commissioner Lopez. We have Mr. Jerry Tony here to explain. And Mr. Tony, I believe the traffic pattern and everything is the same as has been done for many, many years now?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. 46 consecutive years.
46. Okay. I knew it was over 40.
Well, it's 47, but we missed 2020, but.
Well, then it's 46.
Yeah.
Okay. Police department, any concerns?
No, sir. Nope.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
None from me.
Okay, so all in favor of item number 4 of the full closure for Norwalk Seaport Association Oyster Festival? From 3
Mr. Mayor,
p.m.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I apologize for jumping in. May I make a comment?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, one of the concerns that is expressed every year by the local residents that are affected, in other words, on those street closures and whatnot, is about enforcement of the no parking by other than residents. And we explained to them that we don't have the authority nor the ability to enforce that. So I don't know what the policy normally is by the traffic authority or whoever has the authority there, but I would pass that on because we get emails all the time about that.
All right, well, that'll be the responsibility of the police department, and they do hire a traffic detail
Right.
and a traffic supervisor.
Sure.
So I'm sure they've just taken note of that. Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next is item 5, approve the proposed no parking. Who's going to move that forward?
I'll move that forward.
Commissioner Palladino would move that forward. This is 15-minute no standing regulations on St. John. Mr. Benjamin, are you going to take that?
Yeah, this will be me, Mr. Mayor. So recently the department, as part of our phase 4 signal upgrades, one of the signals we were upgrading is East Avenue at St. John's. As part of that, we did some upgrades to the sidewalks around the intersection and crosswalks, as you can see here. And before we did the project, we had a discussion with the businesses in this area because we did know that before this is occurring, there's been some issues with vehicles parking on the sidewalk that was originally here. And a lot of those vehicles frequent the businesses. So we discussed with the business what would be a solution to this. And we thought that making some 15-minute parking spaces here, which you can see between, will be this indentation here, which will be 2 15-minute spaces, will help alleviate the issue there that was the vehicles parking on the sidewalk, creating a hazard for pedestrians and also destroying the sidewalk that was originally there. So we'll create these 2 15-minute spaces. And then also just before, there'll be no standing, so that we make sure there's no vehicles parking on the sidewalk or blocking traffic before those parking spots. So the no standing will be from here where my cursor is over to the start where the road indents, and then just a standard no parking here to corner at the end of the street. So that's the plan.
I'll call you later. I'm in a meeting.
Commissioners, comments or discussion?
Yes, did I understand that currently there is parking on the sidewalk?
So there is no legal parking there, Commissioner, but vehicles were parking on the sidewalk, which is, illegal according to the city code. So we're trying to accommodate the users of the restaurant as well as, have safe traffic throughout the intersection. So, and
Yeah,
pedestrians as well.
Citizens' patterns are kind of hard to break. And although those 2 parking spaces are being made available, there are still going to be those who feel that they can park on the sidewalk in the areas where it says no standing anytime. Will that be enforced at the beginning?
Yes, ma'am. So the plan is to have multiple signs in strategic locations at this little indentation to disallow people from being able to park on the sidewalk in the first place, as well as the sidewalk is going to be concrete with a concrete curb so that it's harder to mount than a normal asphalt curb. And then we are going to discuss with the police about making sure this is enforced, but we'll also take a look to see if parking authority, we can expand it to parking authority if necessary for them to enforce as well. So we'll make sure that enforcement is regular.
Okay, enforcement is good. Like we send out letters to residents when we're making changes that's going to affect the parking on their street or in their block.
This was, the letters were sent, we discussed with the restaurant and letters were sent to the residents in the area as part of this.
Okay,
So,
thank you for
yeah.
anticipating my question, but that wasn't my question.
Oh, I apologize, ma'am. I thought I didn't realize.
No, I'm just wondering, is it possible to have a letter that the establishments can, give to their customers saying that there will be no more parking on the sidewalk or whatever, even though it's signed, in the beginning to help the police department?
I don't see why we couldn't do that. We can definitely make a pamphlet to be handed out. Yeah.
Any further comment or discussion?
In Norwalk, does no standing allow for drop off of people? And if so, is there a limitation to how long they could be there with the engine running? Because I know in some city and towns, as long as you're in a car and it's running, you could stay there.
Off the top of my head, Commissioner, I'm not sure. I know the standard for no standing is that no vehicle can be there. The federal and state standard is that no vehicle can be there whatsoever, but I'm not sure if we have a ordinance that says something otherwise here for the city. I can look into that though.
Thank you.
As a follow-up to that question, because that begs the question about truck deliveries, could that be one and the same on how do they do it? Maybe there is already a spot for that?
I believe, Commissioner, there is a location. They had this parking lot is theirs here. And I do believe that trucks are able to get in there for drop off for deliveries, as well as I think in their front parking. I've seen trucks parked there too. I'm not 100% sure, as I'm not the project lead on this. Fred Estragi is, and unfortunately he's not here, but I can get back to you on those.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any further comment or discussion? Seeing none, all
I
in favor?
just, oh, excuse me, I just wondered myself, when it says no standing anytime, no standing anytime, couple of places, what does that really mean?
So based on the general definition of no standing, that no vehicle can be there in terms of idling that is stopped there. So you can stop if you're stopped there because the traffic light backup is there, but you can't just sit on the side of the road with your vehicle on. Basically it's no idling is the idea of it.
Okay.
But again, to Commissioner Palladino's question, there might be a ordinance that's different because in some cities they have a different definition of that, but I don't believe Norwalk's ordinance is different. But again, I'll take a look into that just to make sure. So.
Oh, okay, because I was wondering when it said no standing, I was like, really?
Basically, it's a stronger form of no parking, Commissioner,
Okay.
because so no parking, you can still technically idle. So
Okay.
it's basically just to alleviate that concern there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're very welcome.
Any further comment or discussion? Any concerns from the police department? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6, need to move that forward, full closure for Perry Avenue Bridge.
I'll make a motion to move it forward. with regard to
Commissioner
the
Sumter has
program.
moved the item forward. That will be handled by Mr. Sotnick. Mr. Sotnick,
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Paul Sotnick. I'm one of the senior engineers in the Department of Public Works. We want to talk to you this afternoon related to work that's been requested by a group of residents up on Perry Avenue for the Perry Avenue bridge rails over the Silvermine River. They've asked us to repaint the existing rail system that was installed in 2007. So in doing that work, the drawing that's up on the screen on the right side talks about the typical section and a containment structure. In order to remove the existing paint from the rails, we will have to install a containment system to collect the debris from the surface preparation or sandblasting of the rails and then repaint them. And in order to do this work, that area up on the bridge, there's a one-lane bridge that's approximately 14 feet wide. And in doing so, the workers are going to require a minimum of 4 feet to do the work. And then installing at the bare minimum a traffic drum that's 1.5 feet in diameter. And at the base, if you put a collar on it, it's going to probably be about another foot. And by the time you're through, you're going to end up with a lane that's going to be less than 8.5 feet for alternating one-way traffic. And Kyle, if you want to scroll back down to the picture that was part of it, what we're going to do is we're proposing to close the area from 187 Perry Avenue to the intersection of Perry Avenue at Old Kings Highway and detour traffic down Silvermine Avenue to James Street to Perry Avenue. The proposed detour is about 2.9 miles, and this would keep traffic on city collector streets within the city of Norwalk. And we're requesting that the work once the contract is issued, they have 90 days to complete the work, but they can only close the road for a maximum of 30 days. And due to the width of the road, it's going to be extremely tough and almost unsafe for the workers to work there and have alternating one-way traffic. So that is why we're proposing this detour in the road closure. And Kyle, up, I think another page or two, you'll see the pictures, if you can rotate those pictures. This is a small car coming through the bridge, just as an example. And you would, if a truck comes through, you would not be able to really have any space for the workers to do their work at all. So for safety reasons, we're requesting that the closure be approved.
All right, I have 2 questions. Who's going to be doing the work?
At this point in time, we haven't put the project out to bid. We want to wait until we get an approval from the traffic authority to determine what we put in the bid package. So we will not know that until the bid is awarded.
The other question I have, the workers will be working during the daytime, I would imagine. Is it possible to reopen the bridge in the evening, or would that be too much of an issue?
They probably would have to take the containment structure off of the bridge, which is going to basically be anchored to the outside edges of the bridge. So it would be a lot of work to take it down on a daily basis.
And do you anticipate that this would be done in less than 30 days?
I hope so. The work shouldn't take more than 3 weeks, but factoring in inclement weather possibilities for rain and things like that, that's why we asked for 30 days. But I would hope that it would be done less than 30 days.
And there's 2 businesses right there, actually 3. The Silvermine Tavern, I believe, or the old Silvermine Tavern, Gray Barns, and then the a little store there. Have they been contacted, and what are their responses?
At this point, no, we wanted to come to the traffic authority first to see what your feelings were on that. But once we have your feedback, we are going to go talk to all of the businesses there. As a matter of fact, I was out in the field this morning looking at this for something, and I actually had one of the ladies come walking up and asking us if we were going to do the project and what we were there for. And she said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you for responding to our requests." So we will be checking in with all of the businesses.
Commissioners, any questions?
I have none.
I have none either.
Mine was answered.
I have no question.
Okay, once you hear back from, you said you hadn't contacted the businesses yet. We'd like some sort of a response from the businesses just to make sure that there were no significant objections to that issue, because that detour is going to take them around quite a ways out of the way.
It takes them down. We're not going to suggest that there are other routes, but there are alternative routes, but we aren't going to suggest those because it would put people into other communities, and we did not want to bring that to the table.
Okay.
So this
Commission,
keeps-
oh, go ahead,
this keeps the
Commission.
detour. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mayor.
Excuse me? Could you repeat your question, please?
No, I was just saying that this detour keeps the detour completely within Norwalk city limits, right?
It keeps all of the cars on collector roads within the city of Norwalk. It does not put them into New Canaan or Wilton. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further comment or discussion?
I have none.
Police Department?
None, sir.
Okay. I will reiterate my concern that we would like to have some sort of a feedback once you notify the businesses, because this could have a significant impact on their business.
Okay.
Mayor, Vanessa Valadares here. May I suggest if we can get an approval to put this detour into the bid package, because we would like to issue the bid package now, and what we'll do is we're gonna go back to the business, we're gonna talk to them. If something comes up that they oppose, we're gonna come back to you with a different proposal. So
That's
can we
not- yeah.
condition the approval? Because it's just about the timing.
Yeah.
In case there is no meeting next month with the traffic authority, we're only gonna be able to award, to advertise this project, in September or October.
Mhm.
And we would like to do this work on early fall before the weather gets too cold, otherwise we cannot paint.
That's fine. I don't think there's any objection from the commission on that.
And what we'll do is we're gonna send a letter to the businesses and then send you guys copies so the commission can know that we notify.
Okay.
Okay?
I just have a question with respect to what you just said. You mentioned that you have the bid packages and you want to distribute them, or you're gonna make up the big bid packages?
Um,
Which-
We're almost complete with the design, Mr.
Uh-huh.
Sumter, but usually when we advertise, we
Yes,
need to put it up already, what will be the detour, because let's say in case we do not allow any closure on the bridge at all, that will totally affect the price, because the contractor will have to figure it out another way to complete the project, you know? So that's why it's important that we try to put everything, cover all the bases before we advertise a project.
uh-huh,
And again, we do believe, when I was looking into this last week at the office with Paul, my first reaction was like, oh, I really don't want to close that, you know? And then we look back and forth. That's why Paul went back to the site this morning to confirm if we could at least try to keep one car going through that road. But unfortunately, the way that we do to remove the paint on those rails, it is a sandblasting process. So unfortunately, we have to put this whole structure around, right? And just to get that structure around and get the guys to do what they need to do doesn't leave safety room, neither for a car, neither for the workers to work. So in other words, unfortunately, we'll have to close the bridge to be able to get the work done. But also the contractor is responsible to provide all the signage and everything related to the detour, because that comes as part of the price of the bid. So that's why we would like to advertise, at least with this, if you guys are comfortable with this detour, if you guys are comfortable on allowing us close the bridge. And what I would like to compromise with the traffic authorities that we will definitely contact the business, and if we feel that there is a lot of pushback from them that they are very against, we're gonna come back to you and try to come up with another option, or at least a little bit of a feedback.
mhm. From an environmental perspective, what happens when you sandblast over a bridge in terms of the debris?
Well, that's why we're gonna have this structure around, because it's really a containment structure. So nothing will happen. Just will be just for whoever that we're gonna be working there, and usually they use safety equipment for their own protection, but nothing will gonna be spilled into the river. That's why we need that structure. That's why when the first call that we received that, oh, can you guys just go paint the rails? We knew that wasn't a very simple project, that we could just send the operations guys there and do a touch up on it.
So the containment itself allows them to catch the material?
Correct.
From the sandblasting?
Yes.
Kyle, can you scroll up to the next page again?
Yeah,
Up
right
on the
there.
right
You see,
side.
this is the whole structure. If you can zoom in, Kyle, on the right, that looks like, look like one of those temporary sheds, plastic sheds.
Uh-huh,
You see, that's what it is. You see this there is kind of it's saying painting and blasting containment system.
uh-huh.
You see, so they have to come up with that. So everything will be contained in that area.
So
Okay.
that it's done in an environmentally responsible way due to the river being right underneath.
Yeah, that's really what my concern was with regard to all that sandblasting and somewhat overspill. But if they're building a containment, yeah, I could see somewhat how it's being built. I can't really tell totally, but then I don't need to. I'm not doing the work. I get it.
Okay, any further comment or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I
Thank
need
Thank
a,
you.
the next meeting is August 19th, 2024. I need a motion to adjourn.
I move.
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens moves. The time is 4:35 and we are adjourned. Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.